the outside looking in, ayahuasca and other plant and earth medicines are often shrouded in mystery. Maybe it's because Aya is rooted in Amazonian traditions that most people in the States don't really grow up around or understand. Or maybe it's because on paper, it honestly sounds kind of terrible. There's purging. There's facing things that you'd maybe prefer to leave in a dark corner forever. And yet people walk out of these weekends glowing, changed, speaking about their experiences with this mix of awe and clarity that makes everyone else go, wait, how did you get all that from a night that involved puking into a bucket? If you want to hear more about my personal experience on the medicine, you can check out episode 43 for all of those dirty deets. But today we are getting into the mechanics of the plant medicine transformation. I love this episode. I love this topic. I love the sage of a man who guides us through it. Derek Januszewski is the founding pastor of Pachamama Sanctuary in Maine, the place where I first experienced ayahuasca 2 years ago and where I just returned with friends for a weekend retreat that cracked all of us open in the most humbling and powerful ways. Derek has sat with ayahuasca more than 150 times, and he's held space for hundreds of ceremonies and thousands of people. He's seen it all. He's held it all. And he lives at a level of integrity, compassion, and zero judgment that invites you to see the humanity in every single soul you encounter, even the chaos agents. Derek addresses all of your purge fears. He explains what ayahuasca actually does in your body, mind, and spirit. We talk Aya prep. We talk retreat weekend logistics. We get into other plant and animal medicines that Pachamama offers, like Hapé, Bufo, Kambo, which I really didn't know much about them, and they are freaking fascinating. And we also get into how it's really integration that helps us grow, heal, and remember who we are. And when I say remember who we are, I mean the real us. The soul underneath the human costume we're all walking around in. The consciousness dressed up in this miracle suit so we can learn, evolve, love, break, heal, and wake up to our own aliveness. Even if you have zero desire to ever drink ayahuasca, which many people are like, no, thank you. And I get that. There is so much wisdom in these practices and in the stories of the people who do. These medicines turn us into open channels. And when the messages come through, they come through. And they offer anyone listening a chance to live with more intention, more compassion, more clarity, and more devotion to our own life force. So settle in. This episode is a journey. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Laura Scarpati, filmmaker and woo-woo enthusiast. Here today to cut through the noise, pull back the veil, and cozy up in the space between reality and spirituality. Thanks for listening to The Woo Report. Derek Januszewski, welcome to The Woo Report.
Thanks for having me.
You are the founding pastor of the Pachamama Sanctuary in Maine, and you have changed my life. And I'm sure you hear that a lot. I feel like there's a lot of people that probably come in and say that you've done this. But I want to start with Ayahuasca 101. If someone has never heard of ayahuasca before, how do you explain it to them?
Well, I think Ayahuasca 101 is going to be that nobody changes your life but you. That's what the medicine teaches, right? So I didn't change your life. You showed up, then you went home and you did the work. Did I facilitate this tool for you to use on your path? Yeah. Being able to look at yourself very clearly, right into the mirror, and admit things to yourself that we generally hide behind justification or explanation or excuse. We know what we need to do to get better. If I want to be healthier, I need to go to the gym. I need to eat good food, right? There's no amount of ayahuasca that's going to change that fact. But there's blockages, right? There's self-worth issues. There's fear of being unlovable and all of this stuff that gets me to sabotage on the way to the gym or on the way to the refrigerator, and then I grab something that I shouldn't instead of something that I should.
So then how does ayahuasca help us? Like, what is it that ayahuasca does? How does it help us look at ourselves differently?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, what it does is it just shows you your how divine you are, how perfect you are, how lovable you are. That the narratives that are inside the head, they're not yours. They came from some kind of trauma, somebody else's opinion about you or themselves, really. And we end up taking those narratives and taking possession of them and rolling with them. We think that we need to be better looking or thinner or smarter or have a better job, then people will like us. And so because of that, we don't like ourselves. There's parts of ourselves that we don't like, that we reject, Trauma can happen. Abuse creates that. Also, if I was worthwhile, why would somebody hurt me this way? Obviously I'm not worth enough. That's why my parent is hurting me this way or ignoring me this way. When we cut through all of the noise and all of the illusions of being unlovable, all the illusions of that, and that's what the medicine does, right? It tears down all of the narrative in the mind, and it allows us to peer into our heart so that we can see how perfect we are. We can see how, that stuff that happened to us, it wasn't our fault. We shouldn't be ashamed. We shouldn't feel guilty. We did the best that we could when we were doing it, and now we know better, and now we can do better. We are worth that. So once we see like the purity and the love that we actually are deep down, then we can start to actually go to the refrigerator and get the right thing instead of the wrong thing.
So you have drank ayahuasca 150 times. Over 150 times? I feel like I've heard you say that. Yeah. What made you keep coming back to it?
So in the beginning, I was trying to run away from an addiction. I wasn't using the medicine properly. I thought, I drink this stuff, I don't have to use, right? And then I got sort of sent out into the world and realized that this was a very fragile foundation for my sobriety. So then I started playing the part of the spiritual guy, learning the lingo, all of that kind of stuff, showing up to the right places, acting a certain way. But really behind the scenes, I still thought the same way. I was just putting on, somebody else's clothes. And eventually, it all kind of culminated into leaving the church that I was at and then starting this new one, right? When I started this new one, the people that were serving medicine said they saw something in me that I needed a lot of work. And so I went on over 7 weeks, I drank 18 times. I was taking double doses most of the time, right? So whereas other people were taking 3 tablespoons, I was taking 6, and then second cup, I was taking another 6, right? So these massive doses where I was just dissolving and going, completely away. Like there was nothing to cling to. At the end of that 7 weeks, I felt so clean and so clear and so connected to my mission and exactly how to make it happen that obviously it became very interesting to me. So to be on this path, I need to be clean. I need to be clear. I need to be, connected with integrity, with God's word, right? With the word of that intuition. I need to be tapped into my intuition. Some people will call it intuition. Some people will call it the word of God or channeling information or all of this just woo-woo stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be woo-woo. It's really all of these things sort of speak through our intuition. So to boil it down, I needed to be very aware of what my intuition was telling me and strong enough to act on it whether or not I understood it. And to do that, I had to drink a lot. And so I was drinking pretty much every other weekend for a long time. And eventually I stopped keeping count. And so the 150 is an estimate. It's just an estimate.
And then do you still drink now? Because I noticed you didn't during the weekends while I was there. I was just curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I drink with the team. And then I drink, occasionally I drink alone. But I drink with the team about once per quarter. Once I've gotten to a certain point and through my sobriety, because I have a journey through sobriety, there's a ton of shadow work there. And so moving through that shadow work, ayahuasca is also shadow work, but it's two different personalities of shadow work, I guess. One is like, here, look in the mirror, you better do something about this. And the other one is writing for months. It took me over a year and a half to write all of this shadow work down through the 12 steps, where I myself am saying, hey, look in the mirror, you got to do something about this.
When you say shadow work, if somebody has never heard shadow work before, how would you explain that?
Everybody has thoughts that they don't share with other people because they're afraid of what other people are going to think. So they criticize themselves about it, right? This is how like different soft addictions happen. Gambling, porn, stuff like that. If somebody has some thoughts that they have on a regular basis that they are personally determining as something that is not acceptable socially, right? Like a kink, and they're rejecting it because they're ashamed of it, that ignoring it, that shoving it into the darkness, like trying to push it away and not look at it, that's what a shadow is. And the problem with that is it just grows in the dark. Shadows just grow in the dark, and eventually you'll have that person going on websites, looking at certain things, becoming more ashamed, driving them to do it more and hide more in the shadows. And then it becomes, an issue of self-worth and like severe self-criticism. That leads to isolation. It leads to all kinds of personality disorders and stuff like that. It can really grow out of something as small as, a personal kink that somebody has. It doesn't even have to be all that crazy. It can be something very simple. If they have guilt and shame around it and they want to ignore it and never talk to anybody about it, it's going to grow into something malignant.
Part of that work then, so ayahuasca can help you reframe that?
Yeah, it frees you from that shadow. It gives you a look into why that thing is. So it can give you the logical reason why that kink came up. And I'm just going to use that example while we go through this, right? Or it can give you enough self-love and understanding and grace so that it no longer is something that you're ashamed of and you feel guilty about.
You did this writing assignment, essentially. And then you had told me before that you then read it out loud to someone, like as a witness. And you said something about secrets. And I've been trying to remember exactly what it was. Was it secrets keep us stuck?
We're only as sick as the secrets we keep.
We're only as sick as the secrets we keep. Why does that keep us sick? Like, why is sharing those secrets liberating for us?
That's a great question. I don't think I really have the exact answer for that. I just know that it is. We're communal creatures, right? And these secrets keep us separate from one another. The separateness, this illusion of being separated from each other, if we just play into that illusion and build a whole world around it, then of course we're going to feel weird, right? We're going to feel wrong or something, right? We're not going to feel good. The moment that we speak the truth, we become set free. It says something like that in the Bible, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Have you seen the Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix?
I haven't.
The Enigma. Has anybody ever asked you about it? He does ayahuasca in it. So Aaron Rodgers, is a football player, quarterback. I'm just curious because I feel like ayahuasca is becoming more mainstream in the last couple of years. And is that just me making that up, or it's just more in my purview? Or do you find that that's the case? People are kind of opening up to it or hearing more about it, or it's becoming more in the ether than it was before?
I think it's a bit of both. I think the bubble is getting bigger and it's increasing at a certain rate of speed. But because we sort of draw into us like attracts like, it appears as though that bubble is bigger than it really is. I think that there's a lot of people out there that know about it, but there's significant amounts of people that have never heard of it. Like
totally.
Hundreds of millions of people in this country have never heard of it.
Yep. Well, you mentioned about your addiction, and I've heard before that ayahuasca is really great for people who struggle with addiction or are working on their sobriety. Is that a thing, or is that just something that I heard?
No, it's absolutely a thing, and I'm hoping to be able to do some research on that so that we can actually bring it and put it in front of RFK or somebody who can actually do something about it, right? But it's the same process. When somebody who is going through sobriety, if they're sober and they're a 12-step person, I talk to them about how this is very much like taking step 1 through step 8 in a very specific subject, right? And so the 12 steps really quickly, the first 3 have to do with, I have a problem, I'm crazy, please help me, I know there's something out there that can, okay? I'll do whatever it takes. That's step 1 through 3. Step 4 is taking an inventory of literally everything, every bad thing that you've done, every resentment that you have, your entire sex inventory, all of your fears. It's lots of writing. And then 5 is confession, right? Admission to God, somebody else, and yourself. And then 6 and 7 have to do with character defects and shortcomings. Where did I screw up? I want to look at this stuff because I don't want to keep doing it. And then 8 is made a list of all people we've harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. So when you take medicine, it's a lot of that. It's like, okay, I need some help. You're taking steps 1 through 3 by drinking, right? Then you have to look very, very deeply at certain things that you're not showing up properly for. And then you got to share it in integration, right? Or with the people around you. Then it's time to figure out, where did I screw up? Where did I fall short? And who do I need to make things right with? That's what the 12 steps is. That's what ayahuasca is.
Oh, it's so interesting. I love that explanation of it too. My first experience, and I shared this with you, was so euphoric. It was like, oh, I'm tapping into this greater consciousness, this God energy. And that was what, in 2023, that was my experience. And then I came back a couple of weeks ago and it was darker. And I remember sharing that with you in the morning and saying, I had a darker experience. And you were like, yeah, it's shadow work. And I was like, oh, got it. And, it took me a minute to grapple with the darker experience. I didn't want the darker experience. I wanted to be tapped back into this like God energy where I felt healing all over my body. I felt expanded. And after sitting with it and integrating with it, I realized it really would have been irresponsible for me to only experience this like euphoric energy and then come on to this podcast and talk about it without experiencing anything darker. Because is that more common?
There is no common, right? Each individual person needs to be spoken with. I can look and see like different themes. I can see different, ways that things generally go. Most of the time, for most people, Friday is really hard and Saturday is really heart opening, right? But that's not the way that it goes for every person, because everybody is unique. Everybody is unique. So
I was going to ask you that about themes, like, because I imagine you've seen it all. So let's talk about Pachamama. How many ceremonies have you resided over at Pachamama Sanctuary?
Maybe 150, 180 retreats. Times 2 ceremonies, so whatever that is, around 300 to 350 ceremonies that I've been responsible for.
And then how many people come through there? You were saying
in the beginning it was small groups, up to like 15, and over time it's gone up and down, but we've got over 4,500 individual members of the sanctuary, so about 4,500 people have come through.
And I imagine you've seen it all, because that's 4,500 people. I was talking about my experience, a couple weeks ago. It was 40 people. It's like 40, we have our own demons, like in a room of 40 people purging demons. It's a lot of demons, but like 4,000 people, that's a lot of demons. Like, I imagine you've seen everything. Has it ever scared you? Are you ever like, what the heck is happening here?
Yes, occasionally, but usually it's some kind of chemical issue, right? Like we've had people not be honest about medications that they're on, and specifically the one that people generally do that with is Adderall. And so what happens when somebody has a stimulant in their body, caffeine to a much lesser degree, Adderall, methamphetamine to a much higher degree, they get paranoid, right? It happens more than half the time. They will get paranoid thinking that they've been abducted and their life is in danger. Okay. And so we've had people run, and
wow.
that gets difficult, right? Sometimes you can see them like withdraw. They're like a wild animal, and they want to it's a whole thing. I've had Army Rangers pick up tables and throw them at the team, and pick me up by my throat, and have to deal with that. And
wow.
People have a lot going on in their heads. There's a lot that needs to come out. They need help. We intentionally attract sick people, so we understand that we're inviting in messes because we want to clean them up.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild. When coming there, it's a melting pot. I mean, it is a cast of characters. And my friends and I were kind of like joking around about our experience the weekend we were there, and we were calling one of the guys like a chaos agent. He was like running around. He like was in a dog suit at one point. He like literally changed into a dog outfit. Like, and at first, like, your first instinct is like, oh gosh, like there's judgment. And then, you take the medicine and you are all in this communal experience together. And then all of a sudden you're like, the compassion and the love, and you're like, yes, go, we love it, get in the dog suit, snaps for you, we're so happy for you. Like, you are sharing your light with us now, and we're all better for it. But I noticed it also in integration meetings, just everyone is coming to you with a lot of stuff. Like, everyone's walking around with all this stuff that we're holding on to that is not cute. It is really dark. And you are just the most patient listener. And then you're able to give them some sort of warm blanket that they walk away and they're like, okay, I like feel better. And how do you do it?
I mean, I've been through a lot of stuff. And there's moments where I really needed compassion. Specifically, in 2022, when I landed on my face, I needed to go get help, and I checked in for treatment. Right? And I had the entire world turn against me, with the exception of one person and kind of my daughter. One of my daughters was not real happy with me. One was like, yeah, I don't know what to do, but I want you to get better. And then one person, and everybody else, they just, either walked away or attacked me. It humbled me a lot. And I realized this was my darkest hour. I needed people to show up for me, not slam the door in my face and not kick me when I was down. I needed people to show up for me. I needed compassion, right? At least though that's the way that I see it. What happened is what shaped me, and I'm grateful for the experience. But what I really wanted, and I think would have been really good also, would have been just compassion, right? So when I have somebody come here and tell me that, because I've got a history of being SA'd when I was a kid, somebody comes in and says that they did that kind of stuff to me and they want to get it off of their chest, the last thing that they need is for me to judge them, right? I had my own problems. Everybody has their own problems, and comparing is just not fair, right? We can stand on some kind of moral high ground for anybody's problems. But the fact is that I was in a lot of pain. I was suffering. I was about to, lose my life to this disease of addiction. And all I got was attacks and being walked away from. And so that made me even more steadfast in under what circumstance could I not show up for somebody? And I thought of all of those circumstances. And I played the conversations through until my nervous system was balanced when I would have that conversation with myself or with that person, that imaginary person in my head, so that when they actually showed up and they say, hey, I did this thing, I've already been there. I already know what to say because I've already had that conversation with you a year ago.
Wow. All right, I want to talk about the weekend that you create at Pachamama, which is so special. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about the prep, because the prep actually is such a gift. It is. Like, I feel like people are like, oh, for 2 weeks, I can't eat any processed foods. I can't drink alcohol. I can't, have any steak. But it is such a gift to be so diligent and aware of what you are ingesting, because it changes how you feel. That part changes your life. Like, my friends and I were all talking about how incredible and eye-opening that experience was. And that's how I feel about prepping for it 2 years ago. That changed my life. I've changed how I eat now. I changed how I drink now. I, don't go for the processed foods. I go for the sweet potato because it's also delicious. But talk a little bit about the prep, and why do we, for 2 weeks before ayahuasca, cleanse our bodies out?
The medicine handles a physical, emotional, and spiritual body when it comes in, right? If it's distracted by all the garbage that it needs to get rid of in the physical body, you're leaving stuff on the table. You're coming to the medicine for something that is so easy to handle. You know what I mean? It's hard to handle the emotional body. It's harder to handle the spiritual body, right? But the physical body, that's something that can be handled, right? So it's a respect thing. We're not going to come to grandma's house covered in mud with dirt on our shoes and run around in her house, right? We're going to make sure we showed up with clean clothes, with brushed teeth, and we're going to show up, open to having an experience with grandma that's respectful, right? If you think about the body as an automobile and food as fuel, you got high octane fuel, which is superfoods, vegetables, quality like eggs is a superfood, right? And then you got garbage fuel, and then you got applesauce. You pour applesauce into the gas tank of a vehicle, it's not going to go very well. It's going to operate like crap and end up breaking down, right? Mm-hmm. So superfoods are going to be the premium fuel. The good fuel is going to be quality pastas, quality rice, lettuce, cucumbers, all of that kind of stuff. So we want to sprinkle in some premium gas and stop with the applesauce. If you were responsible for a 5-year-old for the next year, and you truly, truly cared about this 5-year-old, and you wanted them to be happy and healthy, right? And I said, hey, here is the unequivocal evidence. This kind of food will make them feel good, happy, and healthy. This kind of food will is what they want, but it's going to make them feel unhappy. It's going to make them feel unhealthy, right? As the figure that is supposed to be caring for them, which do you choose, right? You just got to love yourself as much as that imaginary 5-year-old. That's all. Just feed yourself the stuff that you know is going to make you feel good. You know, you eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's an hour before bed. Of course, you're going to have problems when you're sleeping. You're not going to sleep well. Your stomach is going to be upset. You're going to wake up sluggish. Was that worth the 30 minutes it took to put away the pint?
No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And even since, you know, I'll go out and I'll have like a drink, I'll have like a mini beer with my friends. And I'll come back and I will have regrets because I won't sleep well. And I also feel an aversion to drinking a bit post ayahuasca. Do you hear that from people?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It feels so good to be at balance.
Yeah.
That you drink something, it takes you out of balance. And it's like, why do I want to? I already feel good. I don't need something to make me feel good.
Totally. And I can go out. I still go out and sit with my friends at the bar and don't drink like a seltzer water. And it's still fine. Like I'm still fun. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like I'm not fun anymore because I'm not drinking. So anyway, I love the prep. It's totally, that part's also changed my life. Okay. I want to talk about before people come in to Pachamama, they have concerns because they hear about ayahuasca. They hear about the purge. People are concerned about the purge. They want to know what it is. And we were joking about one of your rules for ayahuasca, which is don't trust an ayahuasca fart, which we went around in our group chat many times. People are scared. They don't know what's going to happen with the purge. So what have you seen and experienced, and how can we calm them?
It has happened that somebody's had an accident so rarely. Out of 4,300 people, I remember them. That's how few. Mm-hmm. Almost all of them trusted gas. The ones that I remember are the ones that didn't really have any control over it, right? Mm-hmm. And it happens from time to time, but it is maybe 1 in 1,000 or less. For those of you who think, oh, I'm going to be the one, probably half the people think they're going to be the one, so it probably won't happen to you. As far as purging into the bucket, it's not what you think. It is a relieving, cathartic experience. You know, it's still vomiting, right? It still kind of has that feel, but it's so much more than that it's very, very worth it. You know, it's very, very worth it. The Body Keeps the Score is a book that I really like to recommend to people so they can understand how our body actually hangs on to trauma, like physically in our body, and then it creates things like diseases and illnesses and fatigue and all these different things, right? So if that's true and that emotion is still stuck in the body, if I could say, hey, you can either hang on to this sort of mid-level of misery for the rest of your life, or you can throw up once, which would you pick? And most people would say, yeah, I'll go through the discomfort for 2.5 minutes of throwing up into a bucket, and if I got the chance to feel better on a daily basis. It
was interesting that you said that Friday night is normally kind of more or harder for people. We've described Friday night as a war zone in our experience. You're like nodding your head. Is that's common? That sort of kind of really loud screaming, a lot of purging. That feels like that's like a normal Friday night mm-hmm. for you, Derek, at Pachamama. Yeah. I was wondering if people who are like the shaman or the facilitators or the volunteers are ever like, oh, this is extra than normal, or is it all kind of extra?
No, I mean, we found a balance with the dosage of the medicine to where we want to get to that point where everybody is having a deep experience as much as possible without overdosing, without like giving too big of a dose. If we gave another tablespoon, right, another 35% more in that cup, we could have had significantly more chaos. You know, mm-hmm. it happens from time to time, but it's pretty rare. It's pretty mm-hmm. rare at this point. We've kind of have it dialed in. We want that kind of activity on Friday. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going for. So we know people are doing that deep work. You know, we want a half a dozen people to on Saturday morning going, oh, I don't know if I can do that again. That's what we want. You know, that's what we want. Most of them decide that they're strong enough to do it. And they learn something about themselves. It builds some character, and they get the gifts from it.
You have another rule, the main rule that you have. Everything is consent, but if you take a cup of ayahuasca, you must sit in integration in the morning.
Yep, that's our only rule. That's the only rule. Everything is by choice. We don't force anything. But if you drink medicine, we need to know how you're doing, and you need to hear other people processing their experience. So that's our only requirement.
So my husband and I were talking about this interview last night, and he was saying, I feel like we need to explain integration because that's a word that's thrown around. And if you don't understand it, and if you've never taken it before, how would you describe integration?
Let's say you buy a book on self-improvement, and it gives you the suggestion to write down things that you're grateful for every day. Okay? You can read that book 100 times. It's not going to change anything for you. But if you start writing down 5 things you're grateful for every day, the expectation is that in some way, small or large, your life will get better. So you've gone from reading a book to integrating what was in the book. That's basically what integration is. It's taking the information and processing it, reading the book, but then doing something about it by changed behaviors or changed thought patterns. Integrating it, bringing it into your life.
We sit in integration meetings the morning after, and you kind of open the meeting, and it's always very inspirational and grounding at the same time. And then everyone goes around and shares. And can you talk a little bit about why sharing is important, number one, and how we can learn from everyone else?
I mean, it's an opportunity to share a secret, right? That's first and foremost. If somebody's ashamed of something, they have the opportunity to share it and release it. Because like we started the podcast off with, we're only as sick as our secrets, right? But people are wide open. They're wide open channels. And they get to share what's on their heart, share their experience, right? It's important so that I can see where they're at, see mentally and emotionally if they're in a stabilized, place. But the bigger value is hearing other people processing things.
Yeah.
You're in the room with 35 teachers that have just touched divinity in the last 12 hours that have their own perspective on life and their own thing. And it can get you to think. It can get you to understand something about your own life in a different way. So your share is really about letting go of stuff and then teaching other people about it.
So during the Aya ceremony, there's another offering. It's called Hapé. And so I had never heard of it before I came to Pachamama. Can you explain what Hapé is?
Sure. So there's master teacher plants in the world. Tobacco is used by almost all the way around the world in so many different cultures as a revered plant that they utilize in different ways. All over the world, right? From the Orient to South America to North America. I'm not sure if it was in Africa or not, but I bet it was, I know it's in Australia, New Zealand. So they use it for different spiritual purposes. And all of these different cultures have all come to the same conclusion that this one plant, somehow, all of them use it and all of them agree that it's an important plant for their spirituality, okay? Hapé is powdered tobacco. It's a different form of tobacco. It's called mapacho. Nicotina rustica is the scientific name. It grows wild in the Amazon, and they dry it out, grind it up, and then they put it into an instrument and then blow it into your sinuses. Sort of like snuff, but a little bit different. And it's a powerful teacher. It's grounding, and if you listen, you got about a 3 or 4 minute window where the medicine will talk to you if you just listen.
Wow. That medicine will talk to you, not ayahuasca, but you take it in tandem with ayahuasca.
Yep. So, ayahuasca talks to you too.
Right.
Hapé will talk to you. Ayahuasca will talk to you.
Got it.
It's a masculine plant energy, and ayahuasca is a feminine plant energy. And so the balance, it's very symbiotic, very, very supportive in that way, right? So when we get into ayahuasca and we are, sort of dissolving our sense of self and we're sort of losing our grip with reality, sometimes that can be a little scary, right? So when we take Hapé, we're grounded into our body, so we recognize, okay, our body is still fine. We're still there. But also, it's very relaxing. Tobacco is very relaxing. And it allows us to sort of gently surrender into the ayahuasca experience, so the tension goes away. So we're not fighting anything consciously or subconsciously. And it aids in that process.
Wow. I haven't taken it yet. I've always been scared to do it.
Wow. Okay.
I know, but people do it, but it looks uncomfortable. Is it uncomfortable also?
Yeah.
Does it hurt?
Yeah.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
Just setting, just level setting, so everyone knows what's up. Yeah. Sounds amazing, but also, it's a little uncomfortable.
It's maybe a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, but it's in such a weird spot because the pain is sort of in the center of your skull. That it's like you can't touch it. Some people rub the back of their head or the top of their head or try and like rub here because you can't get to it. It's just the middle, you know what I mean? It's sticky and then it goes away in like 20 seconds.
Wow. And then people I saw were would spit afterwards. They would spit into their bucket. Is it because something goes down your throat or you feel it like dripping down your throat?
Well, it triggers a digestive response. You have something in your sinuses and your body wants to either let it slide down like it's food or remove it, spit it out. And so, a lot of mucus kind of clings up around the Hapé in your sinus cavity, and then you got to sort of remove it through, a sinus pull and spit.
Yeah. It really just doesn't sound great. I know my brother loves it, so.
He specifically requests me to come and serve him Hapé when he's here.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You do it the best?
I don't. He just wants me to serve, and I'm honored to. I appreciate it.
Wow. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. All right. So Saturday we went on a hike. After integration, we go on a hike, and then we do breath work. And when people talk about the ayahuasca weekend, breath work is a sleeper. It's the sleeper that is. I remember Brooklyn, who was by me on one of the mats, was asking me about breathwork before breathwork, and she was like, "Is it cute?" And I was like, "No, it is not cute. It is not. Breathwork is not cute. It's the opposite of cute. It is get ready for Friday night, but everyone's not on ayahuasca and screaming and crying, and it's loud and the drums going. It's a whole experience in itself." So, what kind of breathwork are we doing?
I don't know what to call it. I sort of made it up, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, I went to a bunch of different breath work. It's not like I just randomly made it up out of thin air. I went to a bunch of different types of breath work, and I wanted to get people breathing. I felt that was something that was important. And then a funny thing happened when I started toying with a playlist. I started to see different reactions out of people. And I'm like, okay, well so I was very thoughtful with the stuff until eventually I added a song on the end there, In Dreams by Jagdish, and people started crying. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. And so I thought I had it locked down. And then one day I just decided to tell people to scream their heads off. And all of a sudden it just transformed into what it is now. Ever since then, I've sort of upgraded it with a poem at the end and some words of encouragement. It
is so wild, that experience. The first time I did it, I saw my dead friend in my face, just telling me that I'm going to be okay. I was scared because you had said that we might have lobster claws because of the carbon dioxide in our body. There's more carbon dioxide?
Less.
Okay. Yes. So, and that happened, but then also like it happened with my legs too.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just watched the Ram Dass documentary where he was, had just post-stroke, couldn't walk. And during the breath work, I was like still doing it, still breathing. But I was like, I'm going to be Ram Dass. And that's okay, because if he can do it, I can do it. And then my friend just like came into my face and he was like, you're okay. My dead friend like was in my face, and I saw him and he talked to me. And then I just could not stop crying for about 10 minutes. I remember it was over. Like the breath work was over and I was still bawling my eyes out crying, and it was just the biggest release. Like all I did was cry that first weekend in the best way. Like I was just crying, happy tears, sad tears, like all the tears. And I don't even know what kind of tears I was crying at the end of the breathwork session, but it was just, it's transformative. It's like, less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's less than an hour.
35 minutes.
35 minutes. Mm-hmm. 5 songs, just breathing. Mm-hmm. And it's just, wow. It really, like the way that you set this weekend up to be, it's like release, talk, release, do another ayahuasca journey, and then talk and process and integrate. And it's so beautiful. Okay, so Saturday night, we do another cup. And before we do cups, we're all cleansed, right? Now, what are we cleansing ourselves with? There's like a smoke that they waft onto every person separately.
Generally, it's copal in the winter, and in the summer, it's copal and sage, because there's more mold and mildew things in the air that can happen when it's more humid and more hot, right? When it gets cold, we don't need to sterilize the air. In the summer, we do. So we use sage and copal in the summer, copal only in the winter. Sometimes some frankincense if we're feeling we want to shake it up a little bit.
Feeling festive?
Yeah. Sometimes some myrrh if we feel a little festive. But copal is the kind of the foundation, and the others are sort of adding to it. We also use Palo Santo from time to time, but that's a specific sort of high vibrational one. That's the one we use at the end of breath work. Once you've released everything and you're in this sort of, heap of tears and snot bubbles, the Palo Santo is really nice. It comes in, it's really nice, and it feels good and smells good. Whereas, if we were to do sage at that time, your lungs might hurt because they're vulnerable afterwards, right? So the different smokes and the different cleansings, they have different purposes, right? And of course, there's the energetic cleansing of it all. And copal is a good one because it's a lot of smoke, and it can kind of push those energies out to clear the room. So we open the windows and it clears it out there. And sage does the same thing, but also sage is a disinfectant.
Wow. I want to talk about the energetic container for a second. So, energetically, you have a team of people that are holding space. I feel like now kind of when you say holding space, I feel like it's come into vernacular where people are like, let's hold space. And it's not, but what happens with you and in this space is very sacred. So what does it mean to hold space in a ceremony like this?
It really just means to not get sucked into the energy that the person or people that are in front of you going through something are having at the time, right? So if I am terrified and somebody else comes up and I tell them how terrified I am and they said, oh my God, I'm scared too, that's not going to help, right? If they're just, oh, you're okay. You're okay. Being afraid is all right. Being afraid can't hurt you. Sitting strong where there's people all over the place that are purging and screaming and crying and rolling around and all of this stuff. And I'm just very calm, looking around. If people look around the room and see chaos and they look at me and I'm like this, all freaking out, well, they're not going to feel safe, right? I know everything is safe, so I don't need to react to the room. Holding my space, holding myself together, not reacting to the energies, the moods, or the actions of others.
And what about energetically, like energetic intent? The volunteers that you have, are you having a conversation with them about their intent and how they are holding space?
Yeah, so we have the guardians, right? We have like the main 5 or 6 people that are going to be leading that ceremony support, right? There's the shaman who's overseeing it all. Then there's the core team, which is leading that energetic support, and the rest who are just supposed to sort of hang back, handle small details, take the menial tasks off of the shoulders of the rest of the team. And then we break things down with them afterwards. This is what happens here. This is what happened in this situation. This is how we handled it. This is why. So if this situation comes up, this is how you should, think to handle it. All right. It takes a while. It takes about a year to really know the difference between, your ass and your elbow when it comes to the ceremony, and how to hold space and what to do, what to not do.
The container is so beautiful at Pachamama. We love it. And so Saturday night ends up being, like, at least for me and maybe in your experience, like way more peaceful, more healing, because everyone has released so much throughout the weekend. And the other thing, it's like people are always wondering, just 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours, and then you're just done? You just stop tripping your balls off? Like you're just back? So is that just common? Like it just the medicine wears off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's a couple of people whose ceremony goes a lot longer, occasionally. Neurochemistry, the medicine wants to do some more work with the people. But generally, yeah, it's a pretty short-lived medicine, There is a lot of tribes that insist on you must drink 3 cups because they want to have like an 8 or a 10-hour ceremony. And so they serve the 3 cups throughout the night. The Colombians love to do that. And they serve yahe, which has a couple of different things in it, like chalapanga. And there's a couple of different things in their recipe that make it more purgative. So you go to the bathroom a lot more. And a lot more violently at that, and multiple purges instead of just one, so you'll drink 3 times over the course of the night because they want to start. The Colombians like starting at midnight and going until the sun comes up. So it's like 6, 7, 8 hours, and the ceremony for them is when the sun comes out and the birds start chirping and the world comes alive. That's ceremony. This is sitting with yahe. Ceremony is when the sun comes up. And so that's the way that they see it, right? So there's a lot of different ways to work with this medicine, and the way that we found is those 2 cups. That's enough so that people really get into it and they don't get scared. We have had 10-hour ceremonies before where people drank 4 times, and that was a beautiful ceremony. Actually, we were supposed to have 2 ceremonies that day, and we just combined it into one and just did one long ceremony.
Wow. At the end of Saturday night's ceremony, you came out with a jug of water, and this gratitude water practice that you did also changed my life. I love it so much. Can you tell everyone about it?
Yeah. We take water for granted, and it is the foundation for all life. It carries our children. It carried us. It does so much for us. And I don't want to go through, I could list off 50 to 100 things in rapid succession right now, but venture to say that without water your life would be over, and we just take it for granted. It's a miracle that falls from the skies. It's a real reminder that we can be grateful for anything. If you ask some people, what are you grateful for today, they might say, I don't know, and then run off with a whole list of complaints, right? But if we can focus on what we're grateful for on a daily basis, the more things that you're grateful for, the more things that you're going to find to be grateful for. It becomes a habit. If we're in the habit of being grateful for literally everything, including water, our life is going to be better. It's that simple. And this is a reminder of that.
And so you come out with this jug of water and you pass it around, and everyone in the room speaks their gratitude into the water. And then you pour everyone a cup and we all drink it together. We all drink the gratitude water together. And it is so beautiful. And also what I learned from the retreat that I went to 2 years ago was that water holds consciousness. That was the first time I'd ever heard that. And so you're basically quantum leaping, drinking gratitude water.
Yeah.
And you can do it every day. It's like now I've started to do it every day. I'm like, I've started to, take a minute, thank my water and drink it. And it just feels so good.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I have a million more questions for you, but I'm gonna wrap this up. And I really wanted to talk about a couple other things that you offer that I think people don't know much about. And honestly, I don't really know that much about it either, but I'm interested. So you offer Kambo. And so can you explain what Kambo is?
Kambo is the secretion from a frog in the Amazon jungle that has some special properties. We apply it to the skin through gates that we make on with tiny burn marks. Then the secretion that we collected from the frog goes onto those tiny burn marks, and it has a purgative effect. So you'll drink 2 quarts of water, basically swelling your stomach up with so much water so that as soon as you do anything, it'll just break open and you'll purge it all out, right? The purging is very gentle. It's very easy. It's just all water. It's super comfortable, right? Until you get to the last couple and you taste all of this nasty stuff. It tastes like pesticide. It tastes like Roundup. It's nasty. It tastes like battery acid. It shouldn't be in the body. It's vile. And it really cleans the body out. It feels like you've been pressure washed from the inside so that your body can do what it's meant to do, which is heal itself. But if your immune system is distracted by all this trash, like, heavy metals and toxins from the food, water, and air that you consume every single day, well, it's not going to be as effective.
So it really cleans you out.
Yes.
It's just like that. It's the point is to clean you out. It's not, are you having any third eye visions on it, or not really? Not at all.
No.
It's really just getting rid of stuff.
Garbage in the system and parasites of the mind, body, and spirit. Parasites of the body, we all have them. Worms from sushi and whatever. Parasites of the mind is like critical self-talk, negativity. And parasites of the spirit is like sort of roughly translated into bad luck. They use this term called Pachamama in the jungle, where it's just like, things are going to go wrong more often than they should and at the worst times. And you just already know it. It's like a black cloud type of situation. That's Pachamama. And so that's what Kambo addresses, all of that stuff. I swear by it. I had Lyme disease, and it took 1 treatment.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
One time.
That's wild. That's wild. Well, we also I didn't even bring that up, but there was one woman at the retreat that we just went to that woke up on Saturday morning and said, my pain is gone. My pain in my body is gone from 1 cup of ayahuasca. And that's common?
I don't like talking about the sensational stories because there are sensational stories. But yeah, like very interesting things happen. I'll give one sensational story because things like that happen a lot more often than you would expect even. So this guy came and he sat with the medicine. And when he left, he's like, I got to go back to the eye doctor. I've got this issue with my eyes. It's a degenerative. So every so often, my eyes get worse. And, my prescription was fine when I got here, but I think the ayahuasca did something to my eyes. And so we went to the doctor to go get his prescription bumped up. He told it, hey, I think it's time for a bump up a little early. And so they tested his eyes and they're like, no, actually your eyes are almost 50% better. And
Wow.
This was a guy who was legally blind. And so he went back to get the new prescription when they had the lenses come in. He's like, he still can't see out of them. And he's like, I don't know what happened. I guess let's retest. And his eyes again were 50% better. To where he could get like a normal glasses. He didn't have to have these big, thick glasses anymore. And he was officially not legally blind anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild.
Crazy. It's crazy. You know, somebody who was sterile, a woman who couldn't have children, because she had basically she had endometriosis, to where she had to have something done with her ovaries, and so they had clips on the ovaries, and after she sat, she had this awful pain in her stomach. They had to go in, and they did an operation on her, and they opened her up, and they found that the clips had popped open, and they said, but like they've been clipped for so long, there's no way they're scarred together. And then like 3 weeks later, she got her monthly cycle, and she went in, and they're like, no, yeah, you're all set to have kids.
What? That is also so wild. Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. I have two more questions for you. One is, you offer something else called Bufo, and people are interested in Bufo, and I'd love for you to share your experience with it, because it was so also wild.
Bufo is the secretion, the venom that comes out of the glands from the Bufo alvarius, giant Sonoran desert toad, or the Colorado river toad. It's down like in the southwestern United States, in certain areas, right into Mexico. And when you collect it, they collect it, and then they dry it, and you put it into a pipe, and you vaporize it and inhale it. And it is by far the most powerful psychedelic on the planet, and there's not even a close second. It's about 20 to 30 times stronger than ayahuasca, and it comes on in about 5 to 10 seconds. The good thing about that is that there's no time to be afraid. By the time you exhale, you're fully immersed into a place where there's no chance of you struggling or fighting it. Okay? No chance. You go deep into this medicine and connect with all there is. So ayahuasca is shadow work. Bufo is light work. So the light work is like showing you how you're connected with everything. You touch on this with ayahuasca a little bit, because all of the shadows get scraped away so you can see the truth. This just takes you straight to the truth. So you just become one as a like a oneness with the creation energy of love, right? This love energy that like created all that is, the source of all, right? Mm-hmm. I call God. You become melded with it and indistinguishable between that and everybody you love and everything you love about yourself and your soul. It's all just this sort of plasmatic fluid, and then you slowly come back into the reality of now, and the world starts to construct around you, and it's like sort of being reborn. You're crawling back into the world, and then you're aware of it, and then the gratitude for being alive after that experience, because it's the same thing as a near-death experience. You're not literally in danger of dying. It's nothing like that, but your mind thinks it was. So the gratitude for life is just tremendous, and everything that happened before then, it becomes a story. We know that like everything in the past is just a story in our head, but we still identify with it. And what this medicine does is it really like bookends everything up to that point, so that you can observe your past without being, time traveled back to those moments of trauma or anger or whatever. It really turns everything in your life before into a story that you can value. They can't creep up and hurt you anymore.
Wow. And you made some decisions after you did Bufo.
Yeah.
You changed your life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The message I got, because you do get a message from Bufo too, was that I needed to have integrity. And I was negotiating with the medicine. And I'm like, and it just didn't work. I was like, start to think my way through it, and they would just sort of squeezed out any possibility of lack of integrity. And so I came out of that the very first time that I sat with Bufo. Never bought another pack of cigarettes for the rest since then, and it's been 6 years, because who am I to run a center where people are coming to heal if I'm literally killing myself with cigarettes? And I realized that I wasn't having integrity in the relationship that I was in because she wasn't nice to me. And I was being codependent to try and keep the peace. And that's just a fancy word for lying. It's the same thing as manipulating somebody to like me better by acting like somebody that I'm not. Or the other flip side of the coin of narcissism is, codependence is just a socially acceptable version of narcissism. And so I was lacking integrity. I was showing up as this codependent, keeping the peace, and justifying it as like being peaceful. But really I was lying, and I was abusing myself in the process by allowing somebody to be around me that wasn't treating me properly. And so I ended my relationship. I did all of that within an hour of leaving that Bufo ceremony.
I've been thinking about you saying this, and then you tell everyone post ayahuasca not to make any big life decisions for 30 days. Mm-hmm. And so I was wondering, what's the difference? Is it different to take Bufo, or did you just decide it was time?
Do as I say, not as I do.
I love it. Have you done so? Have you sat with Bufo many times, or?
Look, I don't want people to run out and be frivolous with
right.
changes. If a change is necessary, right? If it's something that's absolutely necessary, and you go do it, you're gonna learn a lesson one way or the other. I'm just saying, pump the brakes a little bit. Mm-hmm. I didn't need to pump the brakes on either one of those things. Like, I didn't like the way the cigarettes tasted. I didn't like having to buy them. I didn't like feeling shamed for doing it. I didn't like smelling like them. I didn't like the smell. I didn't like anything about it, right? And the relationship, well, let's just say I was in Hawaii by myself because I didn't want to take her. So it wasn't that big of a leap.
I see. That makes sense. Yes. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up with my favorite part of the retreat that happens on Sunday morning. When you kind of open integration on Sunday morning, you come out and you read this scroll from the greatest salesman in the world, and it starts with, "I greet this day with love in my heart." Mm-hmm. And I'm emotional just thinking about it. I have it here. I have a Post-it that I look at every day. I've said it before, the secret sauce. That's really what it's all about. It's about integrating into this world, this life with choosing to greet the day with love in your heart. And I love how you do it. I just love how you set this up for us to go off and to grab the world by the balls and make it what we want it to. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit about, the greatest salesman in the world and that scroll, and why does that feel so powerful?
I think it feels so powerful because when we hear it, it just has this astounding ring of truth. That's how we should be approaching every single day. And at the same time, it sort of highlights some areas where we haven't been doing that. And it's important to live by the way that our heart wants us to live. Because if we live by the mind, we're going to get ourselves into trouble. We're not going to have a good time. We're not going to enjoy this life the way that we're meant to. And so when it talks about, I will love the rich for they are yet lonely, and I will love the poor for they are so many. I will love the young for the faith they hold. I love the old for the wisdom they share. Everybody has something that's lovable about them. Everybody, right? Even if they don't see it. There's a part of it that says, most of all, I will love myself, and I will zealously inspect all things which enter my mind, my body, my heart, and my soul. Right? We know we've been letting stuff slip by. We know we haven't been treating ourselves as wonderfully as we deserve to be treated, right? And it's a reminder. It's a look in the mirror. It's an honest reminder of where we're falling short and where we can improve. And it doesn't berate. It doesn't insult. It doesn't criticize. It just says, this is what I will do. This is what I am going to do. This is what I do now. I show up in the world this way. The more we can, as a society, show up in the world this way, the left, right of politics or whatever, the barrier is going to be broken down. Because both sides, politically, want what's best for the country, for themselves, and for the future, right? They just see it different ways. They're more on the same side than they realize, but they're not greeting this day with love in their heart. Both of them. Both sides.
It's so true. It's so good. Derek, thank you for your work and for coming on here and for helping all of us.
Thank you.
What did you think? I've had so many people reach out about ayahuasca, my experience, the retreat experience, what Pachamama's like. Should they go to Pachamama? Should they go somewhere else? And I love that even though we're like, this is so uncomfortable, people are like, yes, I'm here for it. I loved hearing about the other plant and animal medicines in this episode, and I'm curious what you think about them. I also think Bufo might be in my future. We love a light work medicine. Thank you for listening to The Woo Report. This is our last episode of 2025, 45 episodes this year, and it has been such a journey. It has been so much fun. So thank you so much for being on the ride with me, and we will be back with new episodes in 2026. Be sure to follow along on Instagram at The Woo Report, on YouTube at The Woo Report Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Click that follow button, give us a rating. It really helps. Thank you so much for all of the support this year. Excited to come back and do some more episodes in 2026. Bye.